want to support the platform just in case anything like this happens again, you can do it by way of PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and also by the Anchor. And you can also further support the platform by way of going to the Teespring store or the shoe store that is located in the comment section below. The Wall Street Journal journalist said his rights were violated when Phoenix police detained him while reporting on a story. Cell phone video shows Dion Rabouin, a markets reporter with WSJ, being handcuffed and placed in the back of a Phoenix police cruiser in November of 2022. Officers said Rabouin was trespassing on public property after being asked to leave, but he said that's not what happened. Rabouin said that he was visiting family in Phoenix for Thanksgiving when he decided to report on a story he's been covering, seeking comments from bank customers. He went to the Chase Bank branch near State Route 51 and Cactus Road and had been there for about 40 minutes talking with people when two employees came out. I identified myself. I said, I'm a reporter with the Wall Street Journal. Working on this story about savings accounts, he claimed they told him that he could not solicit, and he said he wasn't, so they walked back inside the building. No one asked me to leave. That was the last I heard from them. Then a Phoenix police officer arrived. The incident report from that day said the officer walked into the building and spoke with one of the workers. She told the officer she asked Rabouin to leave, and he refused. The report also claimed she said Chase Bank would press charges if Rabouin stayed. The officer then approached Rabouin. He asked who I was. I told him I was a reporter and told him what I was doing, Rabouin said. He said, well, the folks in the bank want you trespassed. Rabouin, surprised by this, said he thought he was on public property and offered to leave the area. If they don't want me here, I don't need to be here, I could go. But the officer doesn't let him. This is where the cell phone video taken by Caitlin Parody comes in. She started recording when she noticed what was happening. Backup officers arrive at the bank and are also seen speaking with Rabouin. The video goes on for about 15 minutes until they let Rabouin go, telling him he needs to leave the property now or get arrested. Rabouin said, I was under the very clear impression that my rights had been violated and I wanted to file a complaint. He also said during the interaction with police, there was a very real feeling that my life could be in danger for doing nothing more than standing outside of bank trying to do my job. I'm just going to say that this did have to do with race, and I'm going to say that it more so also had to do with the fact of the way that he was dressed and his hair. For whatever reason, the workers there decided to feel as though he was trying to solicit. What he was trying to solicit, I have no clue. I can only assume what they thought he was trying to solicit. And the main thing that he did was that, hey, I'm working for the Wall Street Journal, and I'm asking people about, savings accounts, just asking some questions. He said he was out there for about 40 to 45 minutes. And he said everything was, completely fine and dandy. He also stated that when the police basically arrived, that, he could, if they don't want him here, he can sit up there and leave. The police decided, nope, you can't leave. You're being detained. Now, as I stated to people before, the police are not here in order to protect you. The police are here to do the bidding of the people who are rich. They're here to protect businesses. They're realistically not here to protect you, nor do they have any type of real actual obligations to risk their lives and protect you. Now, if it comes to the fact of a corporation over a business, oh yeah, they have to. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what they're there for. Again, the police are not there at all for any instance to realistically protect you. If you're going to point to some examples of police actually doing this, that's great. You're talking about variables. I'm talking about the overwhelming, the greater whole of the majority. No, that's not what they're there for. And if you think that that's what they're there for, you're a fool. You're 1000% a fool. I'm pretty sure that you'll have some black Republicans, conservatives, whatever you want to call it, that will state that, oh, this is just race baiting. He knew what he was doing. Look at the way that he's dressed. Who's going to come out to a bank, dressed that way and then think that people aren't going to assume, something or whatnot or whatever. He was just trying to bait them. This is what that other side likes to do. They like to play race. They like to bait. They like to do this. They like to do that. I actually don't see anything wrong with the bank. If you're outside of my business, then I would sit up there and call the police, the National Guard, the FBI, the CIA. I would call everybody in order to sit up there and get you off of my property, right? That's how they're going to attack the situation. They're not going to look at it for exactly what it is. They're not going to look at the aspect that more than likely the people who worked at the bank lied about specifically what it was when they were asked, did you ask him to leave? Or yada, yada, yada. Because notice how there's two different stories. The reporter is stating that the employees came out, talked to him, they had a conversation, and they never stated that he had to leave. They just stated that, hey, you cannot solicit here on this property. He said, okay, I'm not soliciting, I'm just asking questions. So then magically when the police happen to call them or they call the police, what have you, they decide to state, yeah, we asked him, several times to basically leave, and he refused to leave. We want you to get him off the property. What? Excuse me? Can we get this recorded? Do we have any type of recordings of that conversation? Because I am not at all believing that the people of the bank directly came out there. First of all, you're telling me that they felt safe enough to come out there to a black man with, it almost seems like, yeah, black forces on. Might not have been black forces, but I'm going to call them black forces just for intents and purposes. He had on some black forces, right? Had on the blue shorts, had on the t-shirt, and had the power fro directly out. So you mean to tell me that you were comfortable enough to come out there and talk to him, but then you needed the police in order to get him directly off the property? You couldn't have just had a conversation directly with him, even though you had a conversation with him before. Like I said, people aren't, paying attention. And the police specifically don't want to pay attention either. As noted in the video that I watched of the reporter, he also stated that the same police force that decided to detain and almost try to arrest him, well, they trespassed him. Those are the same exact ones that are under a spotlight because of misuse of force in a variety of situations and scenarios. So this should not really be too shocking at all that the reporter was trying to de-escalate the situation and the police were trying to escalate the situation. Even in one of the videos where the woman who was there that saw everything took place, even while she was recording, the cop was almost trying to scare or attempt to arrest her, and she didn't budge. She was like, I'm just going to sit here and keep recording, and the cop did not arrest her. So we can clearly, more than likely, potentially assume what ethnicity this woman was. And then after that took place, backup then showed up. You then had the reporter, he was, let go out of the handcuffs, and they said that, hey, well, if you show up back here again, then you're going to be arrested and jailed and yada yada yada. Like I said, it's completely ridiculous. They want to make it seem like they're doing a job. There was realistically no job to do. It wasn't even that serious. The guy is literally a reporter. You trespassed a reporter because obviously that bank, or at least that branch, there's some situations going on there that need to be highlighted and talked about. So this is clear cut why he is there. The only reason a reporter is going to show up to any situation is if there is clearly something awry that needs to be reported. And that's clear cut what he was doing. Like I said, notice who the police are willing to protect. They're not willing to sit up there and protect the journalistic integrity of a reporter. They're willing to sit up there and protect the banks. They're willing to protect the money. They're willing to protect the businesses. Even if that means that the businesses are wrong and you are right, the police will be like, oh, even though you're right, we're going to sit up there and find a reason to jail you and to trespass you and to, throw you behind bars for whatever given amount of time up until we say that you are able to be free. Because we say so, so you must do what we say. So there you go, folks. This is the brave boys in blue in action, really stopping crime like most people say that they do, when really there was no crime committed other than the fact that this man was arrested due to the fact of his race.